Hey everybody, so the year is quickly coming to a close, which can only mean one thing. Christmas is right around the corner. So it's time to get your holiday on, put up the Christmas tree, don your ugly sweater, and wrap some presents to put under there. But wait, what if you haven't done your shopping yet? Well, listen, when it comes to shopping, there's two kinds of people in the world. Those who buy everything in like August, and everyone else who waits until the stroke of midnight on Christmas Eve. Now, if you're in the latter camp, I've got you. This is my techie holiday buying guide for 2025. Now, let's be honest for a second. Tech products, they aren't cheap. And this year, if you're in the US like me, battling the forces of inflation and tariffs, you know firsthand that that's more true than ever. So while I'm going to have some recommendations that probably push the limits of what feels reasonable, I also wanted to include items on this list for the savvy budget conscious holiday shopper as well. So, with no further ado, let's get into it. First up this year is small tech for your everyday carry. So, let's start with this. This is the Samsung USB-C flash drive, and this little guy is great. With most devices now sporting USB-C, and shout out to the EU for getting Apple finally on board with that, by the way, you now have the versatility to add a number of USB-C accessories to your devices, and if you're like me, extra storage is probably at or near the top of the list of things that you need more of. So you can either pay extra for expensive storage directly to Apple or Samsung and pay that Apple tax, that Samsung tax, or you can buy one of these little guys and have extra storage at your fingertips. Now this is the 64 gigabyte model, but I've seen the 128 gigabyte version sitting online around like 21 bucks. So it kind of feels like a no-brainer pickup, and it also makes an actually great stocking stuffer as well. On that note, I get tired of people recommending stocking stuffers that are either hundreds of dollars or size-wise would never fit in any stocking I've ever seen. So if I ever mention a stocking stuffer, I'll try to recommend things that don't break the bank or break the stocking you're trying to fit things into. Next up for my Apple and now Pixel people as of this year, the Apple MagSafe charger. Now listen, I've got to get this off my chest. I've never really been an advocate for MagSafe. I didn't dislike it. It's just one of those things that didn't really click with me, and I didn't get why it was so great. That is until recently. Long story short is, I had to grab my phone in the middle of the night, and the standard USB-C cable I had attached to it got caught on the dresser and created quite a commotion at like 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning. So now I use a wireless MagSafe charger for the nightstand, which would also make for a great gift, by the way. Now I'm personally partial to this one from Belkin, but there's much cheaper options that all do the same thing. Anyway, back to just the cable. So the Apple MagSafe USB-C cable is great because it gives you MagSafe charging at up to like 25 watts without the fear of yanking your phone, your precious phone, to the ground, and it just charges via magnets, and I think that's pretty cool. Additionally, these can be found for around like 30 bucks online, so again, I think it's a pretty great stocking stuffer if I do say so myself, and I do. And I can't forget to mention these little beauties. The Apple AirTag. These are great little trackers if you, like me, can't remember where you put your stuff half the time. Sporting a built-in ultra-wideband chip, you won't lose your stuff, and the battery life goes strong for like over a year in most cases. Okay, let's move up into some under-the-tree gifts. So if you've got a gamer in your life, then they're going to need a controller, or maybe two. And personally, I've always been a fan of the Xbox controller. It may just be the best design controller of any game console to date, period. And you can fight me about that one in the comments section if you disagree. It's ergonomic, responsive, and you can get these in about every color and design you can possibly think of. Now this one is the Xbox Elite controller, and it comes with turbo buttons, paddles on the back, magnetic changeable pads and sticks, so if you want to really up your pro gaming, consider this one. But it also ups the cost too, so for most people, I just stick with the regular version. You can get it for about $39 to $49 online right now. Now, my personal handheld console of choice this year is the Steam Deck OLED because I'm a PC gamer with an extensive Steam library. So the Steam Deck, frankly, is a really great fit for me, and I think it would be for most people as well. I mean, you can play most non-AAA titles on this thing, maybe even a few of those as well cranked down, and You can even get it playing some emulated older titles as well, which is a blast. I've had a great time playing through my back catalog of titles, and even playing some indie hits that I wouldn't have even considered if not for this. Now, as a side note, I made a whole video on the Nintendo Switch 2, which you should go watch, and why I think you should hold off on buying the console until there's more games out there for it. And I still stand by that for the record, but I'm also aware that many people will want to see this under the Christmas tree, and frankly, I get it. If you currently have a large collection of Switch 1 games, then sure, it's a great pickup. If you don't though, I still think that it's worth holding off on this until there's just a few more games out for it that you're going to really enjoy. Next up on the list is the Apple TV 4K. Alright, so this is another one of those products that I genuinely thought, what's the big deal? I've already got a smart TV that does most of these functions. And then the smart OS of my TV got bloated, full of ads, it became unresponsive. You get the point. Essentially, the smart OS of my TV became a dumb OS. The Apple TV is none of those things. It's incredibly fast, it's very easy to add new apps, and the dictation. Wow. The dictation, if you want to just say the name of the show you want versus typing it out using the magic remote or whatever it's actually called with this, honestly, it feels like magic. It's pure sorcery. I've never once had an issue with it figuring out verbatim what I said. Even my kids can use it, and in that sort of kid speak, half say the name of the show they're actually wanting to see, and it knows exactly what they're talking about. It feels like AI wizardry. I just don't comprehend how they made that work, but it's fantastic. So if you're still rocking whatever came on your TV, it's time to upgrade to something to make your TV watching more enjoyable, where you can stream your shows and your content with something that's just gonna work. For my audiophiles out there, I would love to recommend the Apple AirPod Pros to you, but I'm gonna hold off for now for two big reasons. Number one is, I have the second gen version currently. I'll probably get the Gen 3 soon if Santa thinks I've been good all year. And number two, right now the Gen 3s are actually the same price as the Gen 2s as of recording this video. And if you've watched other reviews and you feel like the Gen 3s are for you, it's probably not a bad time to pick them up. But until I've tried them, I won't be making any kind of purchasing recommendation for a product I don't directly own or at least haven't tried extensively. Speaking of that, if you're watching any reviews and someone hasn't physically owned the product or they don't have it in hand to test it, I don't feel like their review is all that valid. So I'm just saying, you do you. But what if you want earbuds? What if you're like, I want something small and compact like this? Well, I gotta tell you, I've been using the Samsung Galaxy Buds 3 Pros since early summer, and truthfully, they sound every bit as good as the AirPod Pro Gen 2s, and they often can be found cheaper than the AirPod Pros. Now, I will say with two kind of minor caveats. They don't go into the case quite as nicely as the AirPods do. They have this strange triangular stem that I wonder if was just a way to not copy Apple directly verbatim, because they look very similar to AirPods. But outside of that, they sound great. The other caveat is that if you're deeply entrenched in the Apple ecosystem, there isn't quite as much connectivity as the AirPods, meaning that while you can connect them to your devices, they don't pair as seamlessly all the time as the AirPods will. I digress. What if you're the kind of person, though, who prefers over-ear headphones? Okay, I have to recommend the Bowers & Wilkins PX8s. Now, these come with like 40mm drivers, Bluetooth 5.2, and aptX adaptive for crystal clear audio. And truthfully, these might be the most comfortable pair of headphones I've ever worn, period. They have real Napa leather for the headband and ear cushions, and they just feel fantastic. Lastly, let's talk cell phones for a second. Now, admittedly, I'm an iPhone guy. I tried Android earlier this year, and for a few reasons, it just wasn't for me. If you want to know more about that, you can watch my Apple ecosystem video from earlier in the year. But that being said, it might be what works best for you. And if that's you, and you're in the Android world, then I highly recommend the Samsung S25 Ultra. That was the Android phone I'd been using, and between Galaxy AI, which is just far superior to what Apple has, I'm just saying, the included S Pen stylus, an amazing camera, a great battery life, it made the decision for me to switch back to the iPhone very difficult. So if you need an Android upgrade, check out the S25 Ultra. I think you'll be glad you did. But if you're on the other side of the fence, like me, on the Apple front, I've tried two different iPhones this year. I tried the iPhone Air and the iPhone Pro. Now, as much as I would genuinely love to recommend the Air, I just can't. Maybe Gen 2 will make me a believer, but you're just missing out on too much. Too many features that just aren't there. Too many features that are just kind of half baked into it. Though I will say, for its credit, it might be the nicest feeling phone I've ever held. So, for this year, I have to stick to and recommend the iPhone Pro, with a caveat, which we'll get to in a second. If you want the best of the lineup, if you want the best camera option, a fantastic battery life, etc., then you need to look into the iPhone Pro. The triple camera setup on this thing gives you the best picture taking ability we've ever had on an iPhone. Seriously, as someone with kids, and that's my primary use case with this many cameras, it's fantastic for when they are running ahead of me, when they are running almost behind me, when they're right up next to me. I can take pictures from any angle all the time. Now, here's the caveat that I mentioned. I said earlier that I wouldn't recommend something that I haven't owned or have extensively used, and that's still true. So I'm torn here because everything I've read, and based on specs, it's hard for me not to recommend the base iPhone 17 this year, the one that I don't own and didn't get. On paper, it's the best bang for the buck iPhone maybe ever. So if you don't need all the bells and whistles, maybe at least look into that one. See if it's for you. Go into the store, play with it, read some other reviews, watch some other content, and see if maybe the iPhone 17 is the phone you should be picking up this year. Okay guys, that's gonna wrap it up for this one, but I'm curious, what tech gifts are on your Christmas list this year? Maybe there's something big that I didn't mention that you wanna make sure everyone else is aware of. Or maybe you wanna share what you're hoping to find under that Christmas tree. Let me know in the comments section below. Thank you, as always, by the way, for watching. As a small-time YouTuber with just a few videos under my belt, I am blown away by the support and the community that has already started forming around this. Thank you so much for watching. This has been a blast for me. And if you found this helpful, or maybe at least entertaining, a like and subscribe would be absolutely fantastic. On a personal note, I hope you all have a fantastic Christmas season, filled with joy, peace, love, and tech. Be blessed, do some good in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one. Happy holidays.